Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to round 5 of the league that means absolutely nothing, season 3. I am your voice of the league, Ian Holland, and I am delighted to bring another fantastic piece of classic constructed gameplay to you today. We have Jean-Philippe Legacy, great name, phenomenal name, on Florian Rotwood Harbinger, Rosetta's own Little Emo Boy, taking on the Prince Zuko of Flesh and Blood, Phi Rising Rebellion, piloted by Kenneth Shivers, who has been in the league all 3 seasons. League 1, Dromai. League 2, Enigma, Balls. And now back to his roots on Phi, maybe with some spicy new tech from The Hunted. Devotion Never Dies. Great Phi card. There's a lot of good Phi cards in the set. I can't wait to see if Kenneth has cooked up anything spicy for us. There's only one way to find out what's going to happen, though. And that is, when we throw it over to the gameplay, is the rebel from Volcor going to be able to take on the Rotwood Harbinger of the Candlehold? Only one way to find out. Let's see what happens.
Another awesome sponsor here on The League That Means Nothing for Season 3 is My Metal Cards, who make some fantastic metal card tokens to spice up your battlefield when playing Flesh and Blood. Go and check them out at mymetalcards.etsy.com or Twitter at my_metal_cards. And make sure you use the League That Means Nothing special discount by using Let's Play The League That Means Nothing. Let's Play TLTMN to get 5% off your order and receive one of these special new tokens exclusive to this league and this league only. Go and check them out when you can. That's My Metal Cards. Let's get on with the tournament.
Okay, it looks like we have Kenneth going first using the Final Spring Tunic. You'll find there's an awful lot of Phi builds now using Tunic for longer games, especially because Devotion Never Dies is a 1 cost. There might be slightly more 1 costs in the deck. Why you would use Phi over something like Syndra is it does allow for more blues and slightly more explosive turns. And it actually makes your your Arcane Barrier plan slightly viable, which it is not in Syndra. Trust me, I registered a deck with 66 reds the other week. Again, now we have Jean-Philippe Legacy gaining 1 life with a life. It looked like Kenneth had just chosen to move to end of turn, arsenaling and passing, and Jean-Philippe using the instant speed part of that Thistlebloom life, pitching a Germinate for Grasp of the Arknight. Germinate is a surprise that will help us later, no doubt. And then 1 Arcane, and 3 from this Dread Scythe to prevent any life gain. You know, Phi, that famous life gain deck. Looks like Kenneth thinking about pitching. I've often said that in Phi, unless you're playing against Wizard, pitching for Arcane Barrier is usually a way of slowly losing the game instead of a way of winning the game. But he may have extra blues in hand, at which point it doesn't really matter, does it? I wonder, has he got his hands on something spicy like some Loyalty Beyond the Graves maybe, or an Ignite? Things that I could see very, very playable in Phi, taking to the 2 Arcane, and then blocking with a Crane Dance. So I've enjoyed seeing Kenneth's choice of blue 3 blocks. Generally speaking, in Phi, I always preferred to make sure my blue 3 blocks attacked for at least 2. But if you were attacking with them, you know, it was always kind of a fool's errand. Might have Rotten Remains or looking for a scrap, maybe? I don't know. Either way, Rising Resentment technically has an on-hit. You may banish an attack action with cost less than the number of Draconic Chainlinks you control when you have a single Draconic Chainlink. That's not really an on-hit. But 3 is met by 3 here. From Rootbound Carapace, pitching Fine Center, sending in the Searing Emberblade for 3. If you control 2 or more Draconic Chain Links, it has Go Again. It obviously has Go Again here because it itself is the second Draconic Chain Link. That is met by some broccoli. Jean-Philippe wants Kenneth to eat his vegetables. Paying 1 resource, grabbing a Phoenix Flame for 1. 1 damage going to be dealt, bringing Jean-Philippe back down to 40. And now Aspect of Tiger Body. This is a card I actually love seeing from Kenneth. It's very, very cool. It's just a 3-block combo card that also generally, like, you want to be playing reds, so you always get the value out of your Shuko here. Very, very cool. Because you make your tiger is going to get you your Shuko value, and generally speaking, it combos with red cards. It's always going to have Go Again in a deck. Like Fi, if you have a hand where it's your only red card, you have a hand that sucks anyway. Met by another Rootbound Carapace into an unpreventable 1 damage from this Crouching Tiger. And finishing with one of the best chain enders in the game, one of the best cards in the game. Snatch for 4, on hit, draw a card, on hit, get an arsenal. God, I cannot sing the praises of this card enough. It is one of my favorite cards in Flesh and Blood. I think the first time you misblock on a snatch and you let your opponent draw that card, and they give it Go Again or that lets them set up a really gross arsenal, you immediately regret it. And it's just a great lesson for a lot of Flesh and Blood players at some point how important card draw is. You think it's not as important when you draw 4 cards a turn? No, it's crazy. It's wild. It looks like Jean-Philippe holding a erase face, which kind of has text against Vi, and a truce. Yeah, we're going to just send this erase phase to try and remove the Draconic Chain Links, because it's very hard to have more than 1 Draconic Chain Link when your cards don't have Draconic. Doesn't prevent it gaining them though, so cards that generate fealty, which I understand is a flavor fail for Fi, and what with him hating the Emperor and all that, but anything that generates fealty can provide that value, that draconic nature to the chain link, as can Brand with Cinderclaw, because it does not prevent you gaining class and talent types. It just prevents them having that for a turn, and that is blocked by a Take the Tempo, I believe, and an Enlightened Strike. Enlightened Strike also a really good way to just play around that and just throw back a big Ogle 7. Also one of Fi's best tools into something like Azalea, but we're going to attack with Mounting Anger, paying it for it with our Tunic. So this is coming in for 4 actual on hit, because you can banish something with cost less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control, which is 1. And if you do, it gets +1. So where Rising doesn't have an on hit on the first thing, but it is a head jab that starts your chain, because if you banish something with cost less than 1, it costs 0 anyway. Mounting Anger does give it the on hit, and it looks like we've taken 4, and now in comes Blaze Hedgehog for 5. Perfect Draconic card, so good, and obviously good enough to see play in the Hunted as well. So we're just going to block 2 and drop this Rootbound Carapace. We're going to decompose 1, 2, 3, blocking out 6 here. Unless that is a yellow. It looks like a yellow Rootbound, so that is a full block. And Kenneth just going to pass the turn here, chipping in a little bit of damage, threatening a little bit more, getting some of that armor and getting some of that all-important life total away from Florian, who is now checking his graveyard, sending in Enlightened Strike here, probably for 7. Florian behaves an awful lot like a Guardian. Doesn't really think too long and hard about going super wide on the chain link. Kenneth snap out blocking 6. Um, Not where Fi always wants to be, but if you can block, it's always good to. But this really puts Florian in a good spot because he is going to be very happy to trade 1 or 2 cards from 1 or 2 cards back and forth. Tunic ticks up, and we're just going to send in a Command and Conquer pitching Warmonger's Diplomacy. So, Command and Conquer being met by Condemned to Slaughter, Summer's Fall, and the other point of block on Grasp of the Arknight. Some of the best armor ever printed for the Runeblade class, or indeed in Flesh and Blood in general, where we're pitching a Rootbound to activate Grasp. I'm going to attack with this Felling of the Crown, banishing 2 Rootbounds and an Enlightened Strike. So this is now going to come in for 8 because we have hit 4 cards in banish, and force Kenneth to take a card from hand and put it to the bottom of the deck. We are halfway to Florian's hero text being online, and kind of a perfect time for Fi to just say no blocks. Yeah, and it looks like that is what we're doing. We're taking 1 arcane and 8, going to 28, and going to use our 4 cards here to throw back pretty efficiently at Jean-Philippe, who's just going to draw up. The one thing we always have to play around here is something like the Face Purgatory, but Fi has a unique ability to play around that with a card called Phoenix Flame. Now we have Enlightened Strike coming in here for, I can only assume, go again. So 5 go again. Yeah, it looks like it. Kenneth breaking out the little pizza slice that he would have gotten at the Calling in Chicago, where I met him personally. And yes, it's almost like I am thinking 2 steps ahead of these players, because there goes Jean-Philippe blocking with a Arcane Seed's Life, a Command and Conquer, and Face Purgatory. Let's see what Kenneth decides to do. Because obviously both players have an effect. Kenneth gets to discard, Jean-Philippe gets to draw. Could technically have pitched that blue to Fi, grabbed the Phoenix Flame and discarded the Phoenix Flame just to keep cards in deck if you're ever worried about fatigue, but I don't really see the game going that way. Jean-Philippe with 3 cards in hand, 2 block in armor and 2 prevention in armor, more importantly, on those well grounded. Got to make sure you're very careful about that, because if you try and prevent the wrong thing, you're just dead. I've had people learn that lesson the hard way about Tiger Stripe Shugo. And then we're just going to send in a Blaze Hedgehog here for 4. So 4 go again, coming in, meeting some blocks. Jean-Philippe with a card in hand. That card is going to be arsenaled. So going to lead off here with Brand with Cinderclaw. Not a huge amount of value gained out of the Mask of Momentum this game. It's not really Fi's strength right now. Generally, the deck is considered much more of a Pouncing Links deck. But, Looks like we have 2 damage taken. Into our Searing Emberblade for 3. The thing about Mask of Momentum in Fi as opposed to a deck like Syndra, which is the premier Mask of Momentum deck right now, is it's much, much harder for you to string together 2 to 3 mask triggers in a turn. It's much more convenient for a player to, say, block the second chain link, such as Kenneth is doing here, blocking 3 on the Emberblade with this Broccoli. Going to grab our Phoenix Flame, sending in our Phoenix Flame, coming in for 2 unpreventable. Thank you, Tiger Stripe Shuko. So 2 damage being taken here by Jean-Philippe, who's trying to hold on to a few cards in hand at least, into our Aspect of Tiger Body, grabbing a Crouching Tiger into our Banish Zone again, threatening our mask here. But that is met with a Condemn to Slaughter. And knowing our Tiger isn't actually doing... maybe drawing a card. We have Ancestral. Do you want to crack those boots? Or are we just going to block with another card? Jean-Philippe, let's find out. Yes, boots cracked. So we do not have a mask trigger with 1 more attack. But we, more importantly, are down a bunch of triggers here. Tiger for 0. And Warmongers. We're going to make sure that Jean-Philippe is not playing any non-attacks or is not playing any attacks next turn. It's one or the other. They have lovely, both of those gorgeous coins from Metal Fab tokens. So Jean-Philippe choosing War just means we're not getting any Grasp of the Arknight value this turn. Some of the Runeblades that are less affected by it than, say, something like Viserai. Viserai obviously is still very much affected by it these days, but much less so. But Jean-Philippe just choosing to send in this Erase Face for 6. I wonder, does Kenneth care? This is the funny thing about Erase Face, is like sometimes it actually doesn't do a whole lot. It's very weird because Fi does combo with red cards a lot. Oh, blocking with 2 Command and Conquers. Now, under Warmongers, we're just going to use our Tunic. Attack with Soaring Strike. So this is Forgo again. You may banish an attack action with cost less than blah blah blah. Same text as a lot of the cards, but you may banish it. It gains Go again, and you may play it this turn. More than likely, this is just threatening 4 damage, but could be a snatch. Always a good one to hide under a Soaring Strike if your opponent lets that damage through. Having a quick count of Earth cards there, I believe, is Jean-Philippe. Looks like electing to take 4. We're going to pass on the trigger for Soaring Strike and just be content to put our opponent to 23. We're going to gain a life with our Arcane Seeds and make 2 rune chants, 1 more importantly. So this is a really important distinction for players out there who are learning. That is create a rune chant twice. That is not create 2 rune chants. Very different things, very different. The reason I say this is because if you ripple away a arcane seeds, they don't make any. Now in comes Plow Under, decomposing, taking us. Oh, are we? Yes, we are. Florian is now active and coming in here for 2 and 6, bottoming Kenneth's arsenal. Pitching for the rune chance and blocking 5. Going to a single card in hand, not really where you want to be. Jean-Philippe gaining 2 life. Might have been worth just throwing back the erase face, taking the 2 arcane damage. Not really the most powerful thing. Like, you don't really want to be giving Florian all of this tempo, especially when they're online, especially in this kind of funkier Dread Scythe tree setup that Jean-Philippe has brought. And here we have Arcane Seeds live, gaining a life and making 4 rune chance. For rune chance, Swarming Gloomveil. If Swarming Gloomveil hits, all modes are active, so it's go again, +1, and if it hits, damage from Arcane can't be prevented. I don't know. It's not like you should be pitching for these anyway. I don't know. You have to choose which role you're playing in the matchup, and I think Fi has to be the beatdown and just isn't quite fast enough right now. Like when you're playing a lot of blues and these mask momentum triggers are your main goal, you're sort of playing into this mid-rangey game plan, especially if you're giving up a lot of cards turn to turn. Yeah, Kenneth just electing to take 8. More like it. If you're giving up a lot of cards turn to turn, you can't threaten mask, and it doesn't really hold the same value anymore. Because you need to keep at least 3 attacks, so it needs to be attack plus sword plus something else, which is a bit weird. And we have 1 arcane that we can't prevent, and 3 from Dreadside, which isn't really doing anything. So damage is dealt. Back to Kenneth. Now let's see what we can string together with our 5-card hand. It's a while since we've had a proper 5-card hand, and this could be quite good. Pitching a... that's not a good start. Pitching for the Phoenix Flame. Phoenix Flame coming in here for 0. So 0 damage threatened. 0 damage is obviously going to be taken. And here we have Aspect of Tiger Body coming in for 3, making a Crouching Tiger because a red card was played before it. So 3 go again. We have a Tiger for 1 later on. That can't be prevented. Into Flame Call Awakening, pitching our Lava Burst. Okay. Getting a Phoenix Flame. So this is another 3 with Go Again, and would be the second link on the chain for Mask of Momentum. And again, Jean-Philippe has chosen to take the 3 damage here. Kenneth with a Phoenix Flame in hand, not in graveyard. Very important. Maybe reminding Jean-Philippe that the first chain link didn't hit because it was a Phoenix Flame 4-0. Yeah, so 3. We've got Tiger for 1. Crouching Tiger coming in here for 1, threatening to draw a card. Jean Philippe immediately taking the 1. Kenneth drawing for Mask of Momentum here, I hope. Yes, Mask of Momentum. Trigger. Has yet to manage to force some blocks from Jean Philippe. We know there's Phoenix Flame in hand, so that's a free 1 damage here. Taking another 1. Into Rising Resentment for 3 go again. Spicy Head Jab has dealt 3 damage. Jean Philippe has committed to holding on to these cards, and then here comes a Snatch to end the turn. And that is met by Ruben Carapace. A very solid turn here put together by Kenneth. I could see why no blocks were declared the previous turn. We go to clean up, and let's see what Jean-Philippe has here for us. Another Arcane Seeds Life, so that would be the 3rd one, I do believe. Going up to 4 rune chance, so that's 4 damage. Into a Germinate, pitching 2 blues. So we're going to gain a bunch of life. With X being 3, we're going to create 4 rune chance, which is going to be 8 rune chance, and we're going to gain 4 life to 21. Ew, gross. Thanks, I hate it. So going up a bunch of rune chance, gaining a bunch of life, leaving Kenneth with 4 card hand here to try and start doing some threatening, because 12 arcane damage is just chilling there. The one downside of something like Dread Scythe is obviously if you don't draw blues, you can't attack. In we go here, Mounting Anger, pitching Fluster Fist, so 4 go again. Threatening our on hit of banish a card to give it +1. 2 cards in hand. Phoenix Flames in the graveyard. Jean-Philippe taking 4. We have an on hit trigger. Kenneth thinking about which card to banish to the on hit, or are we choosing to banish? We are not. We are going to just send in the Searing Emberblade. So there's 3 go again. 3 damage taken. Pitching a Dishonor for a Phoenix Flame, sending in the Phoenix Flame. If you're going to do that, man. Oh, Phoenix Flame blocked here by Bark Skin, creating 2. And then Erase Face for 6. Very nice. Very, very nice. Usually better before they've created a boatload of rune chance, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so Erase Face has connected. I assume Jean-Philippe is just planning on threatening damage here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're going to channel the Millennium Tree. So we get to Amp 3 and attack for 7. So our first source of Arcane is going to be 4. So we're going to be actually sending in 15 Arcane and 7 physical. Not that this tree is going to last. Channelment Broccoli going away pretty fast. But, 22 damage turn. Yeah, not really anything you can complain about here. Pretty strong. Kenneth doing the math, I imagine, on how the hell do I survive all of this. Well, it starts by pitching several bits to Arcane Barrier, I would imagine. If we prevent 3 of the rune chance, let me think. If you were to prevent 3 of the 11, you would still be taking 12 rune chance, and then you would have to cover 7. Blech. I feel like some armor is going under the bus here. Quite a bit of thinking have to go in here because this is incredibly relevant. So we're going to get our tunic value, getting our resource. Okay, we're at 10 rune chance here. Okay, Kenneth choosing to go to 1 from the arcane damage. Not ideal. And then presenting 5, 7 block. Obviously, no Earth card has been played for Jean-Philippe because that's what Erase Face says. Even if you pitched it, it's not an Earth card. Kenneth can only hope for some bricks here because otherwise we're in quite a bit of trouble. So we're going to start with Soaring Strike. 4 go again. Floating 2. With an on hit, that is only marginally relevant. I say marginally relevant because, yes, while that applies to things like Snatch and such, generally speaking, as a ninja, a lot of Fize cards have those 2 little words that are go again on the bottom. This is only 4, and JP is very much comfortable at 8 here with 1 block in armor. There's no real impetus upon him to block out this on hit or this damage unless he has something like a defense reaction, and then you're just netting maximum value for the cards in your hand. And instead, yeah, it is going to be an Autumn's Touch, and that is not what you're making. God, could you imagine if Barkskin made Rune Chance? Blocking 4 damage here. Into Emberblade for 3, go again. Consider blocking here, but why not? Why would you when you can threaten multiple sources of arcane damage on your next turn with probably some large Chungus attack? Yeah, 3 taken into 4, which obviously allows us to Phoenix Flame. So this is going to buy a single blocking card, and it is a Thistlebloom Life. Blocking 3, taking 1, Phoenix Flame for 1. Oh, no damage actually dealt because Thistlebloom blocks 4 thanks to the. Actually blocks 5 thanks to those embodiments of Earth. With 2 blues in hand here, I would expect JP to pitch to Grasp and send in the Dread Scythe, but either way, Dread Scythe for the rest of this game is taking 2 cards off of Kenneth. Yeah, so Dread Scythe, 1 Arcane, and 3. So going to be much harder to force out damage of your Kenneth Shivers here. Jean-Philippe able to comfortably give up multiple cards. Oh, pitching a red, never a good start. And blocking 3 with that Enlightened Strike. But that is a Soaring Strike that got pitched, so it's a 1-cost red, not where you want to be at right now. Brand with Cinderclaw coming in here for 3. We could get the cheese, you never know. Something like an Ancestral right here if Jean-Philippe decides to greed. But 3 is blocked with this. And then Kenneth, moving to Arsenal. We're in not a good spot. Surprised to see Falling of the Crown be the card that's blocked with because it is so busted. Yeah, pitching to Grasp for 2 Rune Chance. So Kenneth now needs a yellow or a blue to not die immediately, which is good. Or will be for. Oh, that's why we have another Felling. That will be the end of the game then, unless that is a defense reaction in Arsenal or a Sigil of Solace, because those are your only options. So 2 Arcane. First, technically, the Rune Chance resolve before the Felling of the Crown. If you want to actually this game, that means absolutely nothing. I don't know. You might be that kind of person. Who knows? Either way, card is getting put to the bottom from Kenneth's hand, and then 8 damage is being blocked by 6, and the remaining 2 is going to leak through Florian overcoming Phi in this battle of F named Heroes. These kind of middle of the road decks, I want to say. Florian came in obviously with a lot of hype, hasn't quite converted yet, and it's really interesting to see why. Could be a lot to do with the fact that there's a lot of different versions of the deck. As for Phi, he won Worlds and then has just vanished off the face of the earth, so who knows? Commiserations, Kenneth. You are 2-3. Get it back in the next round. Try and go for that even split 3-3 bracket on this league. That means absolutely nothing. As for you, Jean-Philippe Legacy, let's keep it going. You might still be in with a shot of top 8ing. I haven't done a lot of the math myself. With that, this video is coming to a close, and I really hope you liked the video. If you did like the video, make sure to go down below and like the video. Make sure you comment and tell us everything you love about the league. That means absolutely nothing about my commentary, about your day. It doesn't really matter. We would love some engagement. But obviously, want to hear what you think about the league, because we're on season 3, and that means we've had 2 very successful ones. I want to keep on going. After you've done with your comments, make sure you click the subscribe button so that you get notified about every little bit of League That Means Nothing news that comes out straight to your YouTube inbox. And with that, I'm going to have to sign off, and I will see you in the next one. I have been your voice of League, Ian Holland. Find us _spirit on Twitter, or findusspirit.bsky.social on Blue Sky. Goodbye, and I'll catch you around.